This is from a piece that it's in process called On Walking and Writing. You are walking, your writer mind sputtering from one image stone to another in the stream. Monkey mind, you learn to call it in the temple. It's like African storytelling, each story alive in the past, present, and future. The three realities swirling by each other, like one of your father's untethered stories where he could be talking about the armed robber who shot him in the chest at the side of the Nigerian highway before you knew him, or the doctor who just now replaced his pacemaker in Nebraska, or the coming pain when a demagogue will hijack democracy in Africa or America and break all our hearts. You are walking on a dirt path in a regional park in Northern California. Yes, walking for recreation, you. 6 years since moving to the Bay Area, the prodigal daughters returned to the West Coast, a little dismayed, not to be folded into your California friends' lives the way you were during visits, but even more dismayed to receive invitations from potential replacement friends to get together for a walk. A walk? After finally having escaped cold, segregated places like Boston and Iowa and Pittsburgh, a walk? And not a walk to any place, say a walk around an organic farmer's market, or to watch subcultures race from one picturesque destination to another in costumes or nothing at all. No, a walk as the destination. A troubling cultural practice, suggesting that after all your years spent accruing degrees and scars in the East Coast and Midwest, you are no longer West Coastian. This becomes even more clear when you receive a party invitation that includes the directive BYO mug for tea. You are African somewhat and wonder what exactly would lead this poor hostess to believe that anything she has planned for the evening, the setting of intentions, the conversations about social justice, the brewing and consuming of your guessing herbal teas in guest-provided mugs could remotely be considered a party. Should you do an intervention? Gently suggest that she should avoid using the words mug, tea, and party in the same sentence. But somehow now, a mere year or three later, you've drunk the Kool-Aid and are walking alongside all the other Northern California TVUD, high-text, merrilled hikers with their hamster-sized dogs and babies strapped with expensive contraptions to tone backs and chests. Thank you. Your eyes land on the feet of the hiker ahead, which reminds you of the last time you did walking practice, really did it. You were a Buddhist nun in the Thai forest wrestling with this body of yours, which had been so maligned and menaced at college in classist, sexist, racist Boston that you'd flunked out and fled the entire Northern Hemisphere to a cool bit of shade at the foot of a storybook waterfall to lick your wounds and tame your obsessive mind that runs up and down every possible path faster than your body ever could. For 19 hours a day, long before mindfulness was a Bay Area catchphrase, you upheld a vow of silence and a single daily meal, forsook money and shoes, and tried your hand at insight meditation, either sitting on the wooden floor of your hut until you thought scoliosis would snap your back in two, or creeping down cement walkways beside manicured gardens next to the rushing mountain stream. It was difficult, not to mention boring, and you learned to wear a veil over your head to stop from inadvertently breeding in gnats and committing Buddhist murder. Your favorite moment was when the nuns gathered at the morning bell and processed to the daily meal, you, the lowest in rank and last in line, trying to ignore your unruly breasts, focusing instead on your ragged breath and the green breathing of the forest around you and the muffled beauty of the foot of the nun before you, the strong golden arch as the foot rose, the pristine white cloth pooling onto stone as the foot dropped. Your mother, who reminds you of the head nun with her impossibly high ethical standards and fearless determination and impossibly high arches and tiny feet more than 2 sizes smaller than yours, despite her weight. When you were young and just a few years out of government cheese, the entire trailer home would shake as she sped down the hallway, either toward the bathroom or your room, and you would pause mid-play, trying to gauge the signal in her step. Excited to share a book with you, enraged at some imagined disrespect, or merely in need of a pee. She talked too fast and walked too fast for such tiny feet, and in her later years she has taken to losing her footing and tripping on door jambs, tumbling downstairs, flying over cracks in the sidewalks. You don't even need to do it. She's gearing to break your mother's back herself, literally. You're torn between an adult child's terror that your only immediate family member on this continent will fall, and then require hip replacement surgery, and then develop bed sores, and then contract pneumonia, and then die. Isn't that the progression? And a still adolescent impatience that when you walk together, she trails behind as if you were the head nun, the two of you unable to walk abreast like equals. Your mother suffers from arthritis, exacerbated by her weight, and takes tiny, mincing steps like a courtly Chinese woman with bound feet. But if you slow down for her, she slows down even more, so you're still ahead, but going nowhere. Occasionally, she barks out, "Pause, hold for a minute," sounding irritated and imperious, which irritates you. If she's not going to walk with you, then why should she care how many steps ahead you are? And who is she to be barking out commands so many years out of the trailer home? You have your own two-story house, and a career, and admirers, and a husband who walks like a little boy, completely flat-footed, slap-sliding around the house in made-in-Taiwan flip-flops, which in Nigeria they call appropriately enough slippers. Slap, slip, slap, slip. He comes to a stop and stands like a little boy, small, round, bottom high, grinning eagerly like a little boy, which is one of his greatest charms, though his boyishness is one of his greatest failings, too. The way he shouts out random, hurtful nonsense during arguments, or awakes every morning as if newly born, fully believing that this time his money-making schemes will bear fruit, and today he will start paying the bills that are starting to weigh on your body, like the extra you that is pooling and settling as you heal less quickly from your car being rear-ended last spring, more than a year ago, from the breast biopsy this fall that led to 3 infections, from the winter virus that in 2 months has downgraded from feeling like a toddler standing on your chest to an infant balancing on soft feet as puffy as your own. You awake, hand to throat, gasping for breath, while he awakes, sunny and full of belief in today, completely unencumbered by the 1,295 days before today and this moment. Thank you.